Hey book lovers, Victoria here and you're watching My Books Me. It just felt like a hot minute since I filmed. I just filmed this face look. If you're interested, I'll link to that video below over my other channel. But anyway, today I want to do another little bookshelf tour. It's like the one bookshelf tour I haven't done. I think I mentioned it in my non-fiction bookshelf tour like forever ago. But I recently reorganized all my bookshelves. When I say reorganized, I just sort of tidied them up a little bit, and I thought I really want to show you guys this one bookshelf, or part of a bookshelf anyway, that I haven't shared before because it's got a lot of books on it that I feel like a lot of you will be interested in, and that is my TV novelization shelf. So these are books that, for the most part, there is like one series on there that were books before the TV series. But these are books that were written while the TV series was on the air, either giving in book form some of the main storylines from the TV show, or giving like bonus extra storylines that kind of like fit in between what we've seen on screen. I don't know if any of these books are necessarily canon. I feel like some of them are to some extent, but not to another extent because not a lot of people will have read them. So I've sourced all of these books from eBay. You can't actually walk into a shop and just buy these. And of all of the TV series I have books for, only one is actually still on the air, although you can probably sort of count another one, but it's just a new reincarnation within the series. Anyway, let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is my TV novelization shelf. It is the top shelf in this old bookcase I had. Annoyingly, the books don't stand up straight. Oh, a couple of them do down here because they're really small mass market paperbacks. But in a way, I kind of think it's a good thing that they don't, because I've definitely been able to fit more books onto this shelf. So at a glance, I have a whole bunch of Saddle Club books which are double stacked. I have the OC, Neighbours, and Charmed at the end here, and up the top here I have Degrassi, and I think there's some more books behind them, so I'm going to pull all of these out and show you what I've got. Okay, so this is the empty shelf. I know there are still some books here, but there is a reason. It's because they're not actually TV novelizations, they're just other books I have that go in here, which I will just quickly show you. So I have like an Adrian Mole from Maynard to Minor book from Sue Townsend. This actually used to be my mum's, and it's a combination of 3 of the Adrian Mole books. I do hope to maybe read this one day, but who knows, maybe not. I have a beauty book from Dolly. I should probably leave that out. I have The Diary of a Teenage Health Freak by Aidan McFarlane and Anne McPherson. Another one that I commandeered from my mum, interested in reading it at some point in the future. I then have 2 Caroline Graham books from the Midsummer series, which, I mean, are kind of TV novelizations, but the books came out before the TV series did. And I really need to read both of these because these are like 2 of my favorite episodes. I then have The Best Ghost Stories Ever, which is edited by Christopher Cravotten. I really should have had this out for Halloween. I'll remember that next year. Plus I also have The Best Poems Ever. These are books that I've had since I was a child, and this isn't in focus, but we'll live with it. And they're just books that I don't really want to get rid of because they're still ones I can enjoy now. I have More Tales for the Midnight Hour, which again, I should probably leave next year. I've got to remember I have these. It's not focusing. I got this from like a secondhand shop, and some of the stories in here are actually quite scary. I then have a Where's Wally book, a Mr. Bean joke book, which I think I'm going to get rid of actually, and a Louis Braille, which I'm also going to get rid of. This is a book about Louis Braille, how Braille came about. And then these are still kind of TV novelizations. So I have a couple of Horrible Histories books. I have Cruel Kings and Mean Queens by Terry Derry, England by Terry Derry, The Terrible Tudors by Terry Derry and Neil Tongue, and then Even More Terrible Tudors by Terry Derry. Terry Deary, it's probably how you say his name. Then I have a whole bunch of Peanuts comics. Which again I commandeered from my mother. I don't think I've been in frame half this time, but anyway. Okay, So this is probably really the start of my TV novelization series, and that is Are You Being Served by Jeremy Lloyd. This is based on the TV series. I'm not quite sure what the book is about. This is another one I found in my mum's stuff and I commandeered because I love Are You Being Served. It's a really great series. So yeah, this is probably the start of my novelization collection. So we will start with Charmed. So there are like 40 books in this series. I don't have all of them, and I think there are only 2 books that are solely based off episodes. So like the first episode, Something Wicked This Way Comes, and Charmed again, although I've only read Something Wicked This Way Comes, or actually no, it's called The Power of Three, but it's the first book. And it's pretty much based off the first episode, although there are like bonus bits, kind of like the bits you don't see on screen. So the books I have are The Power of Three, Kiss of Darkness, The Crimson Spell, and these are written by a bunch of different people, a lot of people who were writers of the show, I think. Whispers of the Past, Date with Death, A Tale of Two Pipers, Hurricane Hex, As Puck Would Have It, Haunted by Desire, Voodoo Moon, The Gypsy Enchantment, A Shadow of the Sphinx, Mystic Knoll, and Between Worlds. They are in no particular order, and I really need to collect more and also read more. Next up we have the OC. I think I only need 2 more books from this series, but I love the OC, and when I saw it they had books, I had to get them. So the first one is The Outsider, which is essentially Ryan coming to Newport. I think this is pretty much based off the first few episodes. Then we have The Misfit, which is about Seth, and I think it's kind of still those first few episodes but with Seth. Then we have The Way Back, which is following when Ryan goes back to Chino because Teresa is pregnant. And then I think these 2 are the ones that aren't really connected to what we see on screen. We have The Amazing Race, which is about Ryan, Marissa, Seth, and Summer doing a scavenger hunt. And then we have 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, which is obviously a Christmas themed book, which I really should read this Christmas. But it's kind of based off things we do see Christmas wise, but it's a new story. Then we have Neighbours books. And there's like 3 different sets here. So we'll start with, so the first 2 that ever came back way back in 1988, 89, 88. Is these prequel stories. So there's Neighbours, The Robinsons, A Family in Crisis, which is after Jim Robinson's wife passes away in 1975, and then we have The Ramseys, A Family Divided, which takes place in we get a little bit in 1965 when Madge chooses her husband over like the love of her life, and then flash forward to just the months leading up to her returning to Ramsey Street. So then I think this one's set in 1985 because she appears in 1986 in the show. Then we have the rest, like the next series of old school Neighbours books. So these are just called like volumes like 1, 2, 3, 6, and 9. There's no actual names for these, and these kind of are based on the stories we got to see on screen back in 85 and 86, but I think there's like bonus stuff in here. I've not read any of these ones, and as I do need to get a couple more from this series. I think there was only 9 books all up. So I mean, like, we start here, like this very first book is pretty much like the first episode kind of thing where our stripper Daphne moves in, and then like this 9th one is on the eve of Scott and Charlene's wedding. So it's kind of, I think these books are set between 85 and 87, which I do really need to read. Like my favorite, this is like the golden era of Neighbours right here. And then I have 3 of the 4 books from the 20th anniversary in 2005. These are both prequel and sequels. So We have Summer Harvest, which is the story of David and Liliana Bishop, so it's how they met. Then we have Facing Tomorrow, which is when Libby and Darren move away and what happens with them then. And then we have Rising Star, which is when Nina and Jack go to Hollywood. And there is one more in this collection, and then they recently released one earlier this year, which is another prequel, which kind of goes with these books, which I need to get. Then we have the Degrassi collection. So these are books from the Degrassi High and Degrassi Junior High series, which I love. You seriously need to go and watch them. So we have, so these are all character books. So I have Maya, BLT, Snake, Lucy, Joey Jeremiah, Melanie, Shane, Spike, Stephanie K, and I think there's like 2 or 3 more I need to get. Then there is also Exit Stage Left, which is kind of like a group book. And then when Degrassi The Next Generation came out, they released, I think there's 4 little graphic novels. So this is Suddenly Last Summer, which is about Emma, and then Turning Japanese, which is about Ellie, and also JT, and this one's also got Jimmy in it. And there's 2 more in this series that I really need to get. So lastly, we have all of the Saddle Club books. So these are books written by Bonnie Bryant, and they were turned into a TV series here in Australia. It was an Australian-Canadian TV series, and these are the books that were released while the show was on the air. So all the books were re-released with the show's cover on it, and these are the value editions. If you saw my book haul from like September or something like that, I hauled quite a lot of these. So I'm just going to go through them quite quickly. And these are in order, but not in order of how I'm going to... Oh yeah, so these are in order. Well, I'm going backwards in order. So firstly, I have 2 Pine Hollow books. Now these are the spin-off series of the Saddle Club. Bonnie Bryant wrote 3 series set within this world. There is Ponytails, which is a middle grade series and follows like the younger riders within the Saddle Club world. Then there is the Saddle Club, which is the main series, which is a tween series following Lisa, Carol and Stevie at Pine Hollow. And then there's the Pine Hollow series, which is more of a YA series, where these girls are in their final year at high school. So following the same 3 characters, Stevie, Lisa and Carol, plus some more main character friends. So I have Headstrong and High Stakes. Then another part of the Saddle Club series itself is the inside story books. So each character have their own book, which is kind of like a diary. The final few books in the Saddle Club series are single edition books. I don't know why they decided to release these ones as single editions, but we have Best Friends, Stray Horse, Trail Ride, Horse Feathers, Hard Hat, and New Rider. So then still, like as I say, I'm working backwards because that's why I've got them stacked in here. So then we have all of the value editions. So these are double up, like books 1 and 2, then 2, then 3 and 4 kind of thing. So they're all still in order. So there's Horse Love and Horse Spy, Show Jumper and Side Saddle, Horse Thief and Schooling Horse, English Horse and English Rider, Rocking Horse and Horse Flies, Painted Horse and Horse Care, Tight Rein and Wild Horses, and then Gold Medal Horse and Cutting Horse, Pleasure Horse and Riding Class, Stagecoach and Horse Trade, Horsetail and Riding Lesson, High Horse and Hay Fever, Ranch Hands and Autumn Trail, Bridle Path and Stable Manners, Horse Trouble and Ghost Rider, and Racehorse and Fox Hunt. And on to the final lot of books, there is Horse Snapped and Pack Trip, Starlight Christmas and Seahorse, Horsewise and Rodeo Rider, Horseplay and Horse Show, Trailmates and Dude Ranch. And then I have the very first 4 books, which is, working backwards again, Horse Sense and Horsepower, and Horse Crazy and Horse Shy, which is the first 2 books, which I really need to read. So yeah, they're all my TV novelizations. So they are all my TV novelizations. As I say, I picked all these up from eBay. Yeah, pretty much all from eBay, except for some of the Saddle Club books, which I already owned from when I was a kid. So if you are interested in any of these, definitely check eBay. Probably Amazon might even have secondhand copies as well. I don't really know. They're definitely not series I've finished yet. I need to keep collecting them, and I do need to read them. Like with some of them, I'm waiting to get like all of the books so I can just sit down and read them all. But yeah, anyway. Let me know if you guys have any books that are TV novelizations, not books that were turned into TV series and maybe have like the TV show's cover, but actual books that were released when the TV show was on the air and they kind of a continuation of the story. I don't know how, like as I say, I don't know how much these books are actually canon, apart from the Saddle Club books are obviously canon, but the others I don't know how canon they are. Because for example, the Charmed book that I have read, which is essentially the first episode, it's got the essence of the first episode and a lot of things we see in the first episode, but there are like scenes that we didn't get to see on the TV show, but would more than likely did actually happen between while characters were off doing their own thing. So I don't know how like canon that is. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys soon with another one. Bye!